wonders who brought you RuPaul's Drag Race and $1 Million Listing. This is World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Happy Pride Month, everybody. Welcome to World of Wonders Wow Report on Radio Andy.
Sirius XM.
Yes, Sirius
Hello,
XM.
hello.
I'm Fender Bailey, co-founder of World of Wonder. On my right is Edward. Oh, good God, I know your last name.
You still can't pronounce
Bokniak.
Boknick.
500 years later.
Edward.
What? You guys have known each other for
I
like
know.
7. You've been best friends forever.
He just screams Edward, that's all.
Edward! You're blushing because you've been put on the spot because you don't know your former assistant's name.
You almost got it. It's fine. Edward Boknick.
And someone whose name I have no trouble pronouncing, James St. James.
Well, but then we also have with us a very special extra guest with us,
Yes.
whose name is we have all sorts of pronunciations for your name. We don't really ever really know.
I don't even know anymore.
He doesn't even know how to pronounce it.
Jasper
Rischen.
Rischen.
Originally it would be Rischen. So try
Rischen.
You're
I like
Dutch.
I am Dutch.
Yes. And but how do you pronounce your name?
In my country, it's Rischen, which is a little hard here. So you can
Rischen.
you can make it anything you want.
Rischen.
Rischen.
Okay.
Call me Rich.
So Jasper, you're here. Thank you for joining us, because what we do is every week we count down the top 10 things that make us go
Wow. Jasper always makes me go wow.
Yeah.
Every time I see him, I say wow.
I suppose that's a good time to mention that you can watch us on YouTube, right? If you want to see Jasper in person, you can tune in, watch us, or listen on Sirius anytime.
And now Jasper's blushing.
Right. But Jasper, you are here not just because you make us go wow, but because you have directed number 10 this week,
Number 10.
Work the World.
Woo!
So what is Work the World?
Work the World is a show that you guys sent me on tour for with 10 superstar drag queens of Drag Race.
Right.
And originally, I think when you guys sent me, there was not really a clear idea what it was going to be. It was sort of like make.
We had no idea what we were
Send the
doing.
camera crew.
Here's the camera.
the
Here's
camera,
Jasper. Go.
It was like a blank mission, like make 6 to 8 episodes of 10 minutes.
Right.
I think that sort of was the rough outlines. And originally the idea was to make 1 episode per city that these girls hit up. You know, the Berlin episode, the Paris episode, the Barcelona episode. But
Yeah,
Turns
you
out-
changed that, right?
well, the reality of touring is that you are never outside. And I didn't fully realize this until like day 3 of the tour. It's like, okay, we are not going to see the outside world. You're inside buses, inside. You know this. You've toured with these people.
Yeah.
You're inside the theater. You're literally getting whisked from the hotel room into a van, to the rehearsal space, to the meet and greet, into the makeup, onto the stage, and hoppa to the next city. So it's like I had all these like glorious scenes in my head of like kimchi going to the Eiffel Tower and
Well, that is sort of the sad thing about like these life on the road with these queens is that these queens go to these amazing places and you just see these itineraries.
Yeah.
But they never get to see any of it. But
No.
there's a lot of backstage drama.
But I think
Right.
it ended up working in favor of this show because then we were forced to sort of rethink it. And I also, coupled with that, was thinking all these queens have their very unique fan bases, and some of them are a little, a little more in the background, a little quieter than some of the louder queens. Like a Kennedy Davenport has a huge fan base of her own, and is so interesting. But if you put her in a room with Alyssa Edwards and Shangela, she falls through the background. So I was like, how can I combine the fact that you don't see the outside world with the fact that I want to do justice to all of these queens? And that's how the idea
because
came
each
to
queen has her own. So how
Exactly.
many episodes are there?
Now there's 10 episodes plus a bonus one.
Right.
And each queen has their own story. And
Who are the queens?
The queens we have Valentina premiering tomorrow, this week.
Right.
And we have Aquaria, the winner. We have 3 winners, actually. We have Aquaria, who didn't know yet that she won when she was on the tour. We have Sharon Needles.
Always
Season
fun.
4.
Always fun. And they're actually mother-daughter, and we explore their mother-daughter
that's
relationship,
right.
which is really cute. So there's, let me run them all down. We have Aquaria, Valentina, Kimchi, Latrice Royale, Violet Chachki, Detox, Alyssa Edwards, Kennedy Davenport, Shangela, and I'm always forgetting one.
I know, there's always one.
There's always
I
one.
think you got them. I think that was, yeah.
And each queen has her own episode, and they're about half an hour long, right?
Yeah. About 35 minutes each.
It's our first long-form original series for Wow Presents Plus.
Oh, but ding dong.
Do you know what Wow Presents Plus is, James?
Well, it's cheaper than the price of a latte.
It's $3.99 a month. It's our streaming subscription premium service.
Yes.
Premium.
Now, tell me a little bit about that. Did you grow to love each of the queens separate? I mean, because you also edited it. You were a big part of all that. What did you learn about the queens? What did you not know about it? But going into it,
I actually didn't know anything about any of them because I had never seen the show, so I didn't.
Wow.
Jasper, you are fired.
But then, so beforehand, I was like, am I going to speed watch all these seasons, or am I going to go in it not knowing anything about them? And that's what I ended up doing, and I think it worked in the favor of the show in the sense that I hope I approach them as humans.
A blank space, yes.
Yeah, I approach them as humans instead of subjects. I hope.
So what were some of the personal revelations for you then? Coming into it as a blank slate, what are some of the takeaways?
Well, I've the main one. First of all, I did not know how humongously famous these girls are, especially when you go abroad. Like people,
the Beatles,
literally pushing the bus and like lines around the block for the entire day before the show even begins, and it was like mind-boggling to me. And honestly, the fact that they're all pleasant.
Well, because we see the drama backstage on the show and everything, and but traveling together in tight quarters with people, everybody has to get along. Everyone has to.
I heard some horror stories like, "Oh, Valentina's gonna be a nightmare," or "This one's gonna give you the worst time of the day." And like, they were honest. I mean, between them, there was some bickering and everything, but for me, it was largely.
And is the bickering captured on film? Mm-hmm. Lovely.
It reminded me of those shows back in the day. Remember on MTV, like Diary and making videos and stuff, and you still love them because you get to see these stars behind the scenes and how they really were. Yeah, and that's what reminded me of. I'm like, oh, this is how they are. Like, this is so good.
And you see just like what workhorses they really are because it is a grueling.
And whenever I wanted to feel exhausted because it's 17, 19 hours a day. Sometimes you wake up at 5 a.m. You hop onto a ferry onto Copenhagen, and at some point you don't even know what country you're in. But whenever I was like, I'm tired and it's been a long day, these girls still had to get into makeup for 3 hours and then like bust their asses on stage.
And then do meet and greets. And yes, it is.
Meet 150 people, like put on a smile. So, that was really inspiring to watch. And I also hope that's something that the fans take away because, sometimes they can write these like nasty comments online and stuff. It's like, watch this and realize how hard these girls work for the fans,
right?
To bring these shows to the stage.
I also think we all know how serious and passionate the fans can be, and can be sometimes a little mean. Then as a result, and it's been amazing with Werq the World. What a positive reception it's had. Reddit, a place I fear to tread, has been just
I was like,
positive. It's been glow job after glow job.
I was like, glow job.
Oh,
I love a glow job. I mean, I was kind of panicking the first day the first episode was about to come out, and I was like, I'm not gonna look at anything, and then I kept refreshing everything, and I haven't seen between Instagram comments and tweets and Reddit's not one negative comment.
Oh, that's nice. That's good to hear.
Yes.
Y'all can be mean.
So you can sign up for Wow Presents Plus. You just go to wow-presents.com. And watch Werq the World. It's going to be dropping weekly. When does it drop, actually?
Thursday.
And the last episode, the bonus episode, is with the...
Follows the crew.
Yes,
because I was like, I wanted to show, because I had so much leftover footage, and I wanted to show the tour through sort of the heroes behind the scenes. That arguably working even harder than these queens. So I think it's a really fun one.
We can't wait for you to go out and do season 2.
Me neither.
Yay. Me neither, he lied. James, number 9.
Number 9.
Oh, it's me, or not? Are you staying? Is it Jasper staying?
Oh, Jasper should stay.
Oh, okay. So, I've been in a news blackout. I was on a vacation. I was gone for 7 whole days, and so I really haven't done anything or seen anything like that. But I did watch a movie on the plane last night coming back to LA. I watched Mary Queen of Scots, the Saoirse Ronan and Margot Robbie movie from last year. Do you remember this?
I remember. I didn't watch it though.
Is it about the Mary Queen of Scots?
Mary Queen of Scots.
Historical drama.
It's a historical drama with about Mary Queen of Scots and Elizabeth I, the Virgin Queen. Margot Robbie is the Virgin Queen, and it's sort of an interesting story. You know the story. I'm very sure you're well aware of it. Growing up in England, I'm sure you talked about it in the lunchroom growing up all the time.
Ad nauseum.
I do know that Queen Elizabeth I, spoiler alert, had Mary Queen of Scots' head cut off, right?
Yes, she did. She was beheaded.
Yes.
The two were sisters. They were half sisters.
Right.
And Mary Queen of Scots actually had the better claim on the throne than Elizabeth I did at being a Stuart. And Mary Queen of Scots, Elizabeth was.
So she was a threat, right?
She was a threat to her.
But they were close, weren't
well,
they?
they wrote letters back and forth their entire life, and it was like, oh my beautiful sister, oh my darling sister, oh you were so wonderful, oh I heard what you did, da, da, da. And they're sort of like they're always flattering each other and everything because Elizabeth I is a very powerful woman. She's in control of the queen. You know, she has the throne, but she's insecure because she's not married. She doesn't have any children, and she's not very attractive. She has the pox early on.
She had a pox face, and she would cover it up with white lead.
White lead.
It was lead.
Yes. And her hairline was way back here, and she had these big wigs, and her ruffs got bigger and bigger, and she was very insecure. And
was that Margot Robbie's character?
Yes.
Okay, go.
And Mary Queen of Scots was very sort of sensual, and she was married before, and she's sexy, and she's hot, and she's just earthy and everything. Anyway, there's these sort of the things that are interesting to me was there were these sort of Tudor twinks. There were these hot guys in the movie. One of them is
now James interested.
Jake Loudon, who plays
twinks or twins.
Twinks. Hot guys, hot Tudor guys in sort of breeches and
twunks.
Yes, and doublets and everything. And I just love all their outfits. Jake Loudon plays Lord Darnley, and I'm going to talk about him in one second. But Joe Alwyn plays her lover, and Joe Alwyn is Taylor Swift's boyfriend.
Oh,
and he was in The Favorite, which you didn't see, but he's
so
very
good.
Very handsome. He's very, very cute. Lord Darnley is the one who marries Mary Queen of Scots. Okay. Now, this is very fascinating. This is the 19. This is
I'm
the
into
20,
it. I'm
2019 storyline.
Okay.
So in
Fast
Mary,
forward.
I'm telling you guys, you're going to be interested in this. So Mary Queen of Scots has this drag queen in her court, okay? And this
Why didn't you say so earlier?
I'm trying to get to it. He's sort of a gender fluid queen, and he plays dress up in drag and everything, and he's very hotsy-totsy, and she loves him, and he's one of the girls, and he just plays along in the court, and he always dresses up in drag and comes and hangs out as one of her ladies in waiting. Well, on Mary Queen of Scots' wedding night, her husband, Lord Darnley, gets drunk and goes to bed with the drag queen. This is true story. The next day, they're trying to find the husband, and they go into the royal chambers, and the two of them are in bed together. And this is a historical fact, and it's this whole big deal. And so ever afterwards, their relationship was tainted because she was furious with her husband for being bisexual or gay or whatever, and they sort of play on it and say that it's sort of a cheat, or I don't know, it's ugly or whatever, that the only way she can have sex with her husband now is if he beats her and pretends to be a boy, and he fucks her from behind, and so he pretends that she's a boy. Blah blah. So
cheerful film.
Yes, and so she
nice
gets pregnant.
plane
So she
ride.
gets pregnant, and blah blah blah. And then eventually, the drag queen is murdered because it's a royal threesome, and there's all sorts of intrigue, and it's just fascinating. But I think that it's sort of is how we all could like it.
So when Mary Queen of Scots is on aeroplanes now, right? But
It was out during the Oscar.
Is that it? You're cutting me off? I'm done?
there's more. I'm sorry.
I guess I'm done. Mary Queen of Scots. She gets beheaded and dies, and that's
Get a
how
ticket.
And Fenton is born.
I pray.
So we're moving along.
Continue, please.
It was one of the Oscar movies, right?
Did it win?
No, it didn't win, but it was running for Oscars and stuff.
I don't think it did too well, did it?
No, but it tried.
It didn't do too well, but it's a fascinating. That has like an
I'm not saying it's bad,
LGBTQ storyline that I think people would be interested to know. And then, of course, we all know that her son James I is the one who he ruled both Scotland and England. He did take the throne. He was a regent. He was one when his mother was killed, and so he took the throne. And he was gay. We all know that.
And the Civil War.
Yes.
Right?
Well, I'm glad you know.
Thank you.
I'm
Yes,
glad
he got beheaded too. Right.
So,
I think he did.
But it's interesting that he is the product of this gay. His father was.
I think we should take a whole new look at British history because it's obviously a queer story.
It is. It's a very queer story, and it's fascinating that a gay king had a gay father.
And it's interesting also that Cromwell came in and put a stop to all that, and that's the Puritans. And in the end, the Puritans had to get on a boat and come over here and spread their misery and genocide. And
yes, there's also a storyline with John Knox, who was the Protestant Reformation guy who's anti-Mary Queen of Scots. It's just fascinating. And everyone who's in the movie is just gorgeous.
We can continue talking about this because at number 8.
Number 8.
Madonna at 60. And I feel that Mary Queen of Scots, Queen Elizabeth I, there's
Madonna
Madonna elements in
Madonna
here.
is very Elizabeth I, actually. She's
right?
Is that the one that gets beheaded or the one that beheads?
No. She's the powerful old woman in
Queen
charge.
with the grip of iron.
Yeah.
There's this big feature in have you read it? No. Big feature in the New York Times, big interview with Vanessa
Hudgens, Vanessa Redgrave, Vanessa
Carlton.
Her name doesn't matter, unfortunately. I mean, it's like I think you know what's interesting is this big feature, Madonna's 60, fabulous photo shoot. Have you seen it? Has anyone here seen it or read it? No. Fabulous photo shoot. They took old Stephen Klein photos and had her wear them as a dress or stand next to them or slit through and she comes through. But the article is really weird, and it's like you get the impression it's written by this woman who just wants to be friends with Madonna, and everything is about how their friendship or relationship is going and how basically Madonna is at fault because fundamentally Madonna's not going to warm up to anyone. I mean, that's not... what is the point?
Yeah.
It's like you're not going to be Madonna's best friend. And you get the sense that she's sort of slightly resentful that Madonna is playing her or that Madonna's cold or aloof. And again, and we've talked about this here before, the age thing is just like a drumbeat that just on and on.
It's very sad that people are not that people are so taken with the Madonna's age that they aren't letting her age gracefully because she always has to address it.
Exactly. And at one point she told the interviewer, she says, I think you talk about growing up too much. I think you should just stop thinking about it. Yeah. And I think then the writer sort of exacted this bizarre sort of revenge. And Madonna then took to Instagram and said she felt raped by the article.
Which is something that no matter how badly you're treated, you should probably never say in print that you've been raped because...
Well, they're never going to be friends. Wow.
Well, she says she can because she was raped when she was 19, so she's allowed to say it.
I don't know. I still don't know that you can equivalate.
But, I mean, in her defense...
Equivocate.
If for 20 years people have been coming for you for being too old, as long as I've been aware of Madonna... The thing has always been that she's too old for whatever she's doing. So I can understand that at some point you're going to say you feel raped by an article because it gets so tired.
Right? It is hard for, in rock and roll for a woman to grow older. But I do feel that she doesn't do herself I think she does a disservice to herself by putting out songs like Bitch I'm Madonna and wearing the grill.
The last 3 albums were really tough for her.
Well, the new album has just dropped. Does anyone listen to it?
I listened to a couple songs. Yeah.
And?
It's a lot better than her her other stuff. Not like old Madonna, but like the 2000s, 2010s Madonna. It's a lot better than that. There's some songs with Maluma. You know that?
Yeah, I love him.
Yeah, he's so hot.
He's very hot.
Yeah, I think their chemistry together on the songs work really well together, and like that's kind of where the album should have been. But then there was other like preachy songs where I was just like, what is happening here? I don't know.
It becomes a question then of how do you grow old in rock and roll? Are you like Madonna? Are you like Mick Jagger? Where you just keep going and going and going and plugging along?
I don't see why not.
Yeah. I mean, Debbie Harry is a good example of someone who...
Norma Desmond, Sunset Boulevard. I mean...
I mean... I don't know. I sort of wish that she would slow down and do like some Sondheim standards and do some jazz albums and sort of show her age and show her growth and maybe do songs about growing older but the fact that she keeps trying to want to compete with 19-year-olds is hard. I don't know. by the same token, I don't want her to become Barbara Streisand, and I don't want her to do an album
I sort of feel like, why the fuck shouldn't she just do
children's
what she wants? If she
lullabies.
wants to wear an eye patch, who cares?
Exactly. It is
I mean,
true.
it's
It
not like
is
she
true.
says, I'm desperate, I'm trying. That is all the gloss and interpretation other people bring to it.
It is very
She's just-
true.
I think she's just pleasing herself. And I think there's something kind of like, we look at Iris Apfel, who's, 100 years old, whose whole style is based on age inappropriateness. She's wearing great big clunky things, and do you know what I mean? I mean,
but
like,
by the
why
same
do
token,
you have to like grow old and then be sort of put a shawl over you and just
But
sort
I
of?
did sort of want to see Madonna with a bubble hairdo and a ball gown, doing her Brooke Astor thing. That would have been sort of fun for me to see her be Jackie O.
She wouldn't be Madonna if she did that. No.
I know. It's just it is, and I don't like I said I don't fault her for doing what she does. I just wish she would try some other things other than dance music.
Well, death to the patriarchy. That was what she wrote on her Instagram, and that she will never stop fighting to eradicate it. And she calls out this woman really for enabling the patriarchy. It's a strong response to a really interesting article, and she takes great exception to the writer talking about the fabric of her curtains, and I think that's what pissed her off. The writer goes around and spent the afternoon at her house, and the lighting's all just so, and she comments on that, and she refers to the house as an embassy-sized house in London. And I think Madonna's just like
jealous.
Yeah, I think she's jealous. I
Coming
do.
for her.
I think she is. Yeah.
I feel like most music writers at some point wanted to be a big musician.
I agree, and I would love to live in an embassy-sized house. I'm setting my sights on that. Okay, so we posted a link to the New York Times article, Madonna at 60 on the WoW Report at worldofwonder.net/radio. Andy, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll continue. But we have a question, right?
We do have a question.
That's what we do.
Madonna's track I Rise from her new album, Madam X, features an audio sample of this teenage activist.
You're listening to the WoW Report on Radio Andy Sirius XM. We'll be right back.
You're listening to World of Wonders WoW Report.
All right, so welcome back. I'm Fenton here with Edward and James, St. James, and our very special guest, Jasper.
I should just go by Jasper. We don't have the whole last
Jasper's
name
a fabulous
thing.
name.
I love that name.
And Jasper's a director of Werq, director and producer, and like basically one man. You made it all by yourselves.
No, I had a second camera. My dear friend Sila, who I made a PBS talk with, and she came along and we filmed this all together. And I don't want to take all the credit.
Okay. Yeah. Work the World on WoW Presents Plus currently. Blake,
And Steven Sims.
What, pardon?
Producer Steven Sims.
Oh, yes.
Iconic.
It takes a village, people.
It takes a mountain.
All right, so before the break, we had our question. Blake.
Madonna's track I Rise from her new album, Madam X, features an audio sample of this teenage activist.
The only teenage activist I can think of right now is an iconic teenage activist would be Emma Gonzalez. I'm going to say it's Emma Gonzalez.
I would say Emma Gonzalez, too.
That is correct.
I do love me some Emma Gonzalez.
she's
I want Emma Gonzalez for president 2035.
But David Hogg is also a teenage activist.
He's wonderful. All those kids are just they've all really just grown. They're just amazing.
So we're counting down top 10 things that make us go, wow.
Oh, did I say that? Wow.
Yeah, you're like, wow. James, you've been in Florida. Like, what was going on in Florida?
I was with my family, and so it was very relaxing. It was lovely. It was nice to see everyone. I saw my aunt, my uncle that I haven't seen in a while, my stepmother, my father, and my sister and my niece, and it was all of us, and we were all together for the time. It was very nice. But not very relaxing. And I need a vacation for my vacation, which is a very white person problem, very first world problem.
You do seem very relaxed, though.
Do I? Yes. That's funny. Well, I went to the pool. I went to the beach every single day, so that was very nice.
What part of Florida?
St. Petersburg, Florida, which is beautiful, beautiful town.
Did you wear SPF 1000?
I wear SPF 100. I do.
1000.
And it just whites you out. It's like what was that?
Queen Elizabeth I with her white legs.
I was very. Elizabeth.
Did you have a big ruff?
I had caftans and picture hats. And
So what do we got? Number 7, Edward.
Number 7.
Big Little Lies season 2.
I don't watch Big Little Lies. Do I need to? Is it something I need?
You watched it. Have you seen the first season?
I have never seen.
Oh my gosh.
What is
People
it?
go bananas.
So it's think Desperate Housewives, but on HBO, and it's centered around these women who live in Monterey Bay, up Northern California, and their kids all go to school. So the first episode is them all dropping their kids off at first grade, and it's all the parents.
The first episode of the first
season
right?
is them dropping their kids off, and then like.
Give us the cast.
It's Reese Witherspoon.
Yes.
Nicole Kidman.
Oh.
Laura Dern.
Oh.
Zoe Kravitz.
Wow.
I know. And
recent addition.
And Reese, well, that's season 2. Oh. So season 2 just started last week, and it's Meryl Streep.
Oh.
So it's like.
Never heard of her.
Have you heard of a little actress named Meryl Streep?
So what happens? Like they drop the kids off at school?
Well, it's their lives behind closed doors.
From what I've heard, from what I understand,
they drop their kids off at school, and that's it.
Right. Then they go pick them up again.
Yeah.
But someone is murdered, but we don't know who is murdered. We don't know
Someone's
who
murdered
did
in the
it.
first season.
We don't know who did it.
We don't know who did it.
We don't
so
know
like
who
the
was
whole
murdered.
show, they like try to reveal who was killed and why they were killed. So like each episode, it like gets closer and closer to the ending
And
where
we're
they
seeing
reveal
flashbacks
it.
in the police station.
It all comes together in the final episode. But it's all season 1 is based on one book. There's no sequel to the book. So then they did a Game of Thrones thing where season 2 is now all just written by the writers and stuff. There's no sequel.
So is there another murder, or are they still solving the first one?
We don't know yet.
Well, I think.
First episode of season 2, they're still trying to figure out.
It's
the
the
first
repercussions
one.
of what happened.
Yeah, but we know who's dead, and we know how he died and who killed him.
Do you want to know?
No spoilers?
No spoilers. But each of the women are suspects, right?
So each of the women are suspects, and
Is it Murder on the Orient Express where they all took a
Here's
stab?
my pet peeve. And this has been told before, but season 1 was so perfect.
Yeah.
And it was tied up so gloriously that I no matter if you add Meryl Streep, I don't want it to continue.
So you didn't watch?
I did watch, and I'm still no matter how hard Meryl Streep screams.
And I've heard that her first.
That's the new meme is the Meryl Streep
I'm still
scream.
not invested in season 2.
But she screamed her way to an Emmy, is what I've
really
heard.
did.
But the thing is, with Game of Thrones, where they continued on after George R.R. Martin had finished writing his books, and the writers, there is a drop off in the quality of what happens when you start leaving the source material, and I do
Says
worry.
the writer, James St. James.
but it's true. I mean, like you do wonder, can they? What happens in
Well, it's like the Night King's dead, and then what?
Yeah, exactly. In season 6, what's going to happen?
But I mean, you put all those actresses on one show, and it's just so good to watch.
And I hear that fashions are fabulous, and that
everything.
it's like kitchen porn.
And in this next season, are the kids in the next grade up?
Yes.
As it evolves?
So they go to
that's
next-
good. That's good. It's got somewhere to go.
Yeah, the kids are in the drama. It's really good. It's a really good show. You should watch it.
I will. I am going
Okay.
to do it.
Big Little Lies, Sundays, 9 p.m. on HBO. I thought HBO was finished, but clearly not.
No.
They have lots of
The
stuff.
funniest thing is when HBO's Game of Thrones finale went, and they did like a 10-minute trailer with everything they had coming up right before Game of Thrones.
Still watch us. Stay with us.
Oh, no, it's like as much.
It's like get on and on and on. Another show. It's like
as much as I
Don't
want to
cancel.
watch Chernobyl, I don't think it's going to be the.
I'm girding my loins for Chernobyl.
Are
I'm gonna
you?
watch it. Yeah, I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, I mean, but it's not going to be Game of Thrones. I mean, like, but
Of
again,
course it's not gonna. It's called
But where can you
Chernobyl.
go with Chernobyl?
It's
We
about
know-
the nuclear power plant.
And they have Euphoria.
Oh yeah, I
Where
saw
can that
that.
go
They
in
do.
season 6? I mean, we know the ending.
Or
We know how it
Euphoria
ends.
with what's her name? I want to watch that.
Zendaya. Euphoria.
yeah.
I saw it.
You watch? Is it good?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll watch it.
Number 6, James.
Number 6.
Number 6, like I said, I've been in a news blackout, so I haven't really had a chance to do anything or see anything new or current. But I did watch last night. I watched Forever Darling on Turner Classic Movies, which is it's a movie. What? You're already bored? Fenton wants me to move along. Okay, what's number 5, Fenton?
Wait, I'm interested.
I haven't
in
done it.
this.
I have
know.
too.
I will watch these
Is
movies.
it coupled with a
We just
history
have
lesson?
you on every week, Edward.
Yes, you can. I am available.
Fenton rolls his eyes at whatever I know. He's doing the manhole covers of Slovakia, and I'm supposed to be like fascinated. I'm supposed to just be like, tell me more, Fenton. I start to talk, and the first thing I see is an eye roll. I watched a movie on Turner Classic Movies called Forever Darling with Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz,
Love.
which is just interesting right there. It was a 1950 I believe, 1956, and they had a movie deal because their show was so popular that they got to produce whatever they want. They would do these movies, and this was a movie that was originally for Katharine Hepburn and Spencer Tracy that they took from them and decided to do. They'd also done a movie called The Long, Long Trailer 2 years before, which was a huge success, and they thought they were going to replicate that. And in this movie is Lucy, and it's MGM, and so she has she's got all these fabulous costume changes. Every scene, she's just more and more fashion. She plays a woman who's married to Desi Arnaz, who is a scientist, and their marriage is sort of on the rocks. It's 5 years gone, and they're sort of drifting apart. And he's a scientist, and so she goes on a camping trip with him to help find some insecticide or something like that. And it falls apart because she's a woman, and of course she gets into trouble, and she's Lucy, and blah, 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 blah. And it's a terrible movie.
Is it a comedy?
It's a comedy, yes.
Okay.
She has a guardian angel played by James Mason, and the big joke is that he looks like James Mason, and he's an angel, and he looks like James. Nobody else can see him but her. And she's just, what? Yeah,
They go on a camping trip to find insecticides.
Well, he's a scientist who studies bugs, and they're trying to find some new insecticide, something like that. But the
50s were weird.
Very, very weird. But the whole joke is that he's this very smart, and of course it's Desi Arnaz, who is as dumb as a box of rocks, and he's trying to talk about insects, and he's like with his garbled accent.
Like when Tara Reid was the
Exactly.
Tara Reid.
Yeah, I know exactly where you're going with that. But the whole movie, you just watch it because Lucy, to see them together is it not playing. She plays as someone named Suzanne Vega.
Yeah.
What? Is that where she got her name?
No, that's just it. That's
There's a scoop.
There's a scoop, yes. But the story, the script is weak. The story is terrible. But you watch it for the fashion. You watch it to see them together. The director is someone that Lucy was engaged to before meeting Desi Arnaz.
Whoa,
and so
scandal.
And their relationship was already on the rocks by 1956. So you think that maybe this sort of added to their coming divorce. And you see them bickering in real life, and you know they're bickering in real life behind it on the Lucy show. But they're also bickering in the film, and it's sort of like.
So you think it didn't work because they weren't Lucy and Desi? Like
yes.
Everyone wants them to be. They were.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
got it,
and it's hard to see them playing two different roles, even though it's strange. But it's fascinating to watch for Lucy in her fashion because you know that Lucy was a diva in real life.
Yeah.
And it's just sort of behind. You just think that all the behind the scenes glamour and interesting. And also in the movie are Natalie Schafer, who played Lovey Howell on Gilligan's Island, as her best friend, who's sort of a snooty, and Louis Calhern, which was his last movie. And this is something that Tom would be very interested in. I can see your eyes are glazing over. So we're moving right along.
Wow, James.
I will watch it.
Your vacation didn't take the edge off your tongue.
Forever Darling is the name of the movie. 1950.
Refreshed.
Forever Darling. I always
Someone
think of
reset
you.
you and
Forever
wind you back
Darling.
up.
Forever Darling. Number 5.
Number 5.
So I just got back from Banff. Have you ever been to Banff? Oh my God, Banff.
That looked like
it's in
Hogwarts
Canada.
or something.
Yeah, it's like
What is
near
Banff?
Calgary. Banff is
What does that stand for?
Bump.
Banff. I mean, it's BANFF. That's what it's called. Banff.
Banff.
Banff. It's near Canada. I mean, it's in Canada. It's near Calgary. And it's a site of one of those great Victorian railway hotels, you know, like The Shining, you know, just these massive hotels. And it's where they have the Banff Media Conference. So I was invited to go to the Banff Media Conference.
Banff is the name of the town?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I was. Yeah.
It is stunningly beautiful. I mean, the mountains, the Rocky Mountains, are huge.
Yeah, I saw your Instagram.
And you're in this massive Victorian hotel that's like 10 stories high, and there's a mountain that literally goes to the moon. It's so big. Anyway, I was there, and the keynote speaker of the conference was Jeffrey Katzenberg, who is launching this thing called Quibi. Do you know about Quibi?
Oh, I've heard of Quibi before.
Quibi is... The idea of Quibi is it's short-form premium content for your phone. So instead of instead of like Netflix, instead of Netflix and HBO and those premium services, this is like the idea of let's do a premium version of YouTube. He is spending $6 million per hour, so you can make something for $6 million per hour. And you own it. So you get paid $6 million and you will own it. He has it for 2 years and he cuts it up into chapters. This might interest you, James, which is that his theory is he started noticing that kids were watching YouTube. And at first they were watching like 12 minutes of YouTube. Then the next year, half an hour. Now they watch like 70 minutes a day, of YouTube. And he's like, why? He says, anytime there's a basic service, someone's going to come along and offer a premium version. And he's like, that's what Quibi is. And he's going to spend, I think in the first year, $1 billion on staff and $400 million to market it. And you can subscribe, you'll be able to subscribe starting at $4.99. Makes me worried because Wow Presents Plus is $3.99.
And he's coming for your gig.
Anyway, what was sort of, I suppose it was just, he also said, James, that the best thing about a novel is that the chapters are less than 30 pages. And I thought of you because your chapters are very short. James.
He's been seething over here.
James,
what's wrong?
Boiling.
Vincent, that 3 weeks ago, I took you in your office, and I said that someone I know had just had dinner with someone else that was very famous, and they were starting a streaming channel in which everything was going to be 5 to 10 minute episodes, and this is the wave of the future. And Tom laughed at me, and your eyes glazed over, and that is exactly what Quimby was. I told you about this 3 weeks ago.
But basically, I think.
Oh my God.
I am so angry about this.
It's so funny because I thought James was being bored. I thought you'd gone into a
No,
catatonic
I'm
state.
furious that you're coming to me with a story that I came to you with 3 weeks ago.
Well, I need to talk about things too on the show, and I like.
You didn't make the connection that I had already told you the story about Quimby?
Quibi.
Quibi?
Yes, well,
Quimby! It didn't dawn on you that I had just said that.
Funnily enough, well, no, I've actually been to pitch in Quibi. Even before you told me the story, I've been in Quibi's offices.
I heard about it. We used to set meetings for you.
I mean, James, this is not a scoop.
But don't you remember?
The world knows about Quibi. Jeffrey Katzenberg has been. Not only has he raised $1 billion plus.
Wait, which was Jeffrey Katzenberg? Is he the
Jeffrey?
one
He was at Disney.
But who's he married? Is he married?
He's married, happily married.
Oh, okay.
But don't you remember? I said that I had a bunch of pitch meetings.
Yes,
a couple
I do
weeks
remember
ago,
now.
and
Thank
I
you.
had been pitching
Yes,
something
yes,
that was.
Well, so
5 to
you're
10.
excited about Quibi.
Yes, I'm very
And
excited.
I think you're perfect for Quibi because you write short chapters in your books, and that's the whole idea. Is like people snack on short things. The other thing he said, James, and I thought this was fascinating. This idea of people upgrading to a luxury experience. He said, "Look, water is free, but people drink bottled water. They buy bottled water." And he says, "Quibi is bottled water." So I don't know. I mean, people are.
Where do I get free water?
The other thing about this is
buy it. You don't drink it out of a tap.
you can say that it's because the kids have shortened our attention span and everything, but the fact of the matter is that it's the 21st century version of tabloid, like the New York
The
Post.
way Dickens would write a novel, right?
Yeah,
in installments in the newspaper, and then put it all together as a novel.
And a 10-minute series is something that you can watch on the subway or the bus going to work, as opposed to getting a newspaper or something like that.
And they've also apparently come up with some, because everything is shot. This is the other thing about Quibi, unlike YouTube, is everything is shot in portrait as opposed to landscape.
Yeah.
So you don't turn the phone on its side. And they've come up with some
that's a
algorithm
good idea.
or some piece of technology that he was a little vague about that's going to make it a great viewing experience. I don't know how it. Maybe it's
Everything's going to be vertical?
Everything's going to be
You really
vertical.
lost me there.
Yeah, but it is amazing for filmmakers and storytellers because it is top budgets. It's not like he said. YouTube. Did you know that like every minute, 500 hours of new content is uploaded every minute, and he's saying that's great, but like. You can only spend so much on, YouTubers can only spend so much, and he's raised all this money, and I think Freak Show would be a great Quibi series, James.
Well, it actually might go to Snapchat, which is doing the same thing.
Oh, great.
Which I also told you about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. Well, when you're ready to talk about it some more, come. We will do that. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. I have a question. Well, actually, Blake, you got a question, and I've got one. So I think yours is not too easy, but I think I know the answer. Okay. Go.
After resignation from Disney in '94, Jeffrey Katzenberg partnered up with these two Hollywood heavyweights to create their own studio, DreamWorks. Who are they?
You all know the answer to that, right? Well, okay, then. What does Quibi stand for? So we'll have two questions. And we'll have the answers right after the break. You're listening to the Wow Report on Radio Andy.
You're You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report.
Welcome back to the Wow Report.
Are we boring you, Jasper?
No, I just got a voice message from Valentino, who we've been trying to reach for days.
How is
here we
Valentino?
go. I can't listen to it now. We'll see.
Wait, I just want to
listen.
Jasper is with us, director,
Hi.
producer of Werq the World, which is debuting on Wow Presents Plus, our premium subscription service. Only $3.99 a month,
More than worth it.
right?
Yeah.
less than the price of a latte.
But so much
Less
more.
than that. Coffee I bought.
I just want to say that Quimby. I was thinking of Mayor Quimby on Springfield from The Simpsons.
Yeah, Quibi. Okay,
Quibi.
so before the break, we had two questions. Jeffrey Katzenberg, founder of Quibi, which is launching next April.
Yeah, he after his resignation from Disney in '94, he partnered up with these two Hollywood heavyweights to create DreamWorks, their own studio. Who were they?
Well, I know Steven
Steven
Spielberg
Spielberg's
was one.
one.
Who's the other?
Is
It's
it
SKG, Spielberg, Katzenberg,
George Lucas?
Geffen.
No.
Geffen.
Geffen.
Yeah, Jimmy Geffen.
But this is also another question, James, for you, since you know so much about Quibi. What does Quibi stand for?
I don't know. I really don't know. What does it stand for? Queer universe in Birkenstocks.
Questions I've been interested in. No.
Quick Bites.
Oh,
Bye.
there you go. Yeah.
All right, we're counting down top 10 things that make us go, wow, we've reached number 4.
Number 4.
James. No,
No, that's me.
It's you.
we've
Go.
reached number 4. Edward.
So last night, Blake and I went on a little work date and saw the movie Booksmart. Have you guys seen that movie?
No, but it's gotten a 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. People will go
98%
bananas.
on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
Yes, we saw it last night. It was so good.
It may have been my favorite movie I've seen in like a year.
a
Like
lot.
I
Really?
laughed
It's
like
a
the
it's
entire
it's the
time.
next coming of age movie. So like Mean Girls, Clueless, but like
And who are
this
the
one-
stars?
Caitlin Dever plays Amy, and Beanie Feilstein is Molly, and they play best friends.
And she is hilarious. And
Oh my
reminds
God,
me of
she's-
Lindsay Hager, who used to be
Uh-huh.
the receptionist
She's
here when I started.
Jonah Hill's sister.
Oh,
Yes.
that's interesting.
And so they play best friends who went to high school, best friends their whole life. They never went to a party. They were just book smart. They just always studied, went to the best going to the best colleges, and then the night before they graduate, they decide to go to a party. And it's like they follow them the whole night. It's so good. Billy Lord's in it. She's incredible.
I love Billy.
Love
Carrie
her.
Fisher's
Carrie
daughter.
Fisher's daughter. And then Olivia Wilde directed it.
I love Olivia.
Uh-huh.
Oh, she's amazing, too.
Yeah, so of course Jason Sudeikis is in it, and Lisa Kudrow and Will Forte is in it, and it's
Anything
so,
with Lisa Kudrow.
And you know that guy from the Geico commercial with all the stress balls in his office? He's in it.
I did not know.
so random. Blake told me that after I was like, "Ooh!"
But it's really well written, and it's really just
it's
funny.
probably the best one since like Mean Girls, I would say. The best.
Really?
It's a female version of
He said super bad.
I said Superbad.
I
It's
thought
kinda
it
like
was kind of
Superbad.
like Can't Hardly
But
Wait. too.
what I loved about it is one of the main girls. She's becoming herself, and she's a lesbian. But they just like play it as it's
Right.
nothing. Like it's not a big deal in the movie. It's just like, oh yeah, I like that girl. I want to blah blah blah. And it's like, oh okay.
It's
So
just
they,
like she
find,
has a boy crush.
Yeah, exactly. And I love the way they did that. They didn't make it a big deal. It was just as if it was like, oh okay, she wants that girl, and they like, explore the whole night of them going out and finally partying, and then
What's
it's
it like,
really
the
good.
two of you going to a movie together?
Oh, that's what you want to find out.
We held hands.
We shared the same popcorn.
2 straws.
Was there a little bit of shoulder action?
But they're both breakout stars, and it's
Oh my
just-
gosh, they were both really good in it. Yeah.
I would
Especially
totally go see
Beanie.
it.
Beanie was incredible.
Totally, yeah, she was my favorite.
Yeah.
And that's Jonah Hill's sister?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do the soundtrack was amazing. There were like SNL people, Jason Sudeikis, who is married to Olivia Wilde, I think.
Yeah, the director.
He's in it, and Will Arnett is married to Lisa Kudrow.
Are they?
Yeah.
I'll have to look that one up. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's true. Oh. Yeah, the soundtrack's amazing. Have you heard of Sophie Tucker, the band?
Yes.
So Batshit Crazy's in that.
Oh,
They
wow.
play
This
that.
Sophie Tucker was a big star in the 1920s and 30s. She was a huge
Well, now it's a big band coming out.
I don't understand.
They're best
Why would-
friends. One's
how
named
did they do
Sophie, the other
that?
name's Tucker, so they're Sophie Tucker.
Oh,
It's
that's
like Susan
interesting.
Vega
Oh.
So go see Booksmart. It's really, really good.
in theaters now. Number 3, James.
Number 3.
Number 3, I say wow. It makes me go wow because for a different reason. R.I.P. Layleen Polanco extravaganza passed away. Layleen was the 10th trans woman killed this year. She was arrested on drug charges and for assaulting a cab driver and went to Rikers Island and was found dead in her cell in Rikers Island. And we don't really know what happened. There has been a big march happening in New York City. It sort of shines a light again on the story of trans women and trans women of color who are dying at disproportionately large numbers. There's a lot of violence against them. And we like I said, we don't really know the details. We don't know if there was something behind the scenes at Rikers where one of the Rikers, it was an inmate who did it, or we don't know if it was an officer. Also, just last week, there was a funeral for a trans woman of color, Malaysia Booker, who died in Dallas, and her story is sort of interesting because she got into a car accident in March. Or April, I can't remember, and she was beaten in front of a crowd of people, then about 2 weeks later she was at a march for trans women, blah blah, and she spoke at the rally and she was very passionate, and then a week later she was shot and killed, and so we don't know if it was someone from the rally or I don't know. It's just once again that we all need to look out for our LGBTQ sisters and brothers and
especially trans, and especially at a time when it feels that so much progress has been made. I mean, Stonewall was 50 years ago, but it is a full sense of security that we have.
And we keep taking all these steps forwards, in trans rights, and we keep having these conversations about, pronouns and the Me Too movement and everything, and it all sort of it feels like we're moving forward, but then we also live in this very dark time where, the Trumpians are stirring the pot and causing these bigots to and hate homophobes to come forward and giving them strength and it's just
adding fuel to the fire.
Exactly.
Well, it's funny you mention that because number two, I thought I should read a book. It's actually Booksmart. It was inspired me that I should read a book, and so I bought Siege, which is the Michael Wolff sequel to Fury.
Fire and
Fury, yeah.
Oh,
Michael Wolff.
He's been on a media blitz lately. He's been everywhere, yeah.
And I started reading it, and then after about 50 pages, I was like, I don't know if I can take it anymore. Because it is a litany of corruption and evil and hatred and
because we're living through it, it's hard to...
Yeah, I was like, why am I doing this to myself? So then I went and bought Jim Acosta's book, Enemy of the People, A Dangerous Time to Tell the Truth in America. Jim Acosta is a CNN reporter who has sparred time and again with Trump.
Who was kicked out of the White House.
Yeah, kicked out of the White House. And so I was reading that, and about 60 pages after that, I was like, oh, God, I don't know if I can read anymore. So then, then I turned on Rachel Maddow, and it was all about Elaine Chao.
Then he booked a flight back to the UK. It's like, I'm never...
Right. Well, that's no better.
You don't want to,
But, I mean, it is amazing the amount of books coming out about... I suppose in a way, it's not just Trump. It is an entire cabinet. You wonder where he finds these people. Just the list. Dozens of corrupt.
Yeah.
Yes, the swamp creatures. It is extraordinary.
And he just keeps hiring these people who are staggeringly inept at what they do, and they're so corrupt and they're so morally bankrupt, and it's
well, the latest is Elaine Chao, the Secretary of Transportation,
Mitch McConnell,
married to Mitch McConnell, and she's got a special envoy to handle transportation contracts for Kentucky.
When you think of Mnuchin and just all these people and who don't know what they're doing, and they're just grifting off of the
So that's where I'm going with this. Is we have these stories, and you're like, oh well, that would make a great documentary, or that'll make a great Netflix miniseries. How the fuck are we going to tell all these stories? Because there is so many unbelievable plots of corruption and shady shenanigans. I mean, it would have to be 1,000 hours of...
That's just what are historians... what are they going to do when they look back on this time?
Know, right?
I remember when Trump was first elected, and we started on the blog doing a daily list of the scandals, and it was every day. It kept growing and growing and growing, and we were going to do it for the entire 4 years, but after about 2 months, we just had to stop because it was exhausting, and we are all suffering from such fatigue that we don't even care anymore. There's so much graft and
well, remember on this show we used to have Resistor of the Week, and then we just.
Well, at this point, there's been so many scandals that they literally, because of the mountain of scandals, they can get away with anything. At this point, nothing will surprise you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back on a brighter note right after this. You're listening to Wow Report on Radio Andy, Sirius XM.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report.
And welcome back to the Wow Report. I'm Fenton here with Edward and James and Jasper and Blake.
Hi.
Hi, Blake. So what's number one?
Number 1.
What's number one this week that made us go wow?
I don't know.
What was the big event that happened this weekend? LA Pride.
Oh, how was
Yay.
it?
Did you go?
Happy Pride!
Happy Pride. I went.
Yeah, tell me about it.
It was really fun. I went with a bunch of my best friends. You know, we did the usual, bar hopped, went to the parade, just explored like a good community and like everyone together, and it was really, really good. And they really like made up West Hollywood. Like they put like lights around like from one street to the other. They actually closed down the street this time, so like no cars can go in between.
Oh, really?
Was it last year they did the march?
A couple years ago.
A couple of years ago. Yeah.
I don't usually go to Pride, but I'll go to the parties. You know, like
Yeah.
my friend had a big party in Silver Lake.
You know, next week is I think New York Pride, and that's Madonna and
Grace
Jones.
Jones.
Grace Jones is the Grand Marshal, and Madonna's performing.
But LA had Meghan Trainor.
And Years and Years, who I love. Years and Years closed Sunday. Have you heard of Years and Years?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wasn't Todrick there too?
Years and Years is a band, and the lead singer is gay, and it's just their music's so good. The stage, they're each year the stage is getting like bigger and bigger. I'm like, oh, this looks like Coachella. Like it's so good. So.
What about Boston and Straight Pride?
I
don't know if we should even talk about it.
Don't give them the air. That's just disgusting and awful.
Do it and see what happens.
Well, it's just they have nothing to. They haven't had to fight for anything, so why should they have
exactly
a parade?
Yeah.
Wait, is this actually happening?
Apparently,
Lord.
guess who the parade grand marshal's going to be?
It's Milo. Yeah.
Milo Yiannopoulos.
So it's just about.
But she's gay.
I know, but it's which means that it's
just to push your buttons, and by talking about it, it is pushing your buttons.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's why I was
that's
ambivalent
white
about even.
supremacists.
They're just
and
trying to get under your
hate
skin, and
mongers
it's working.
KKK and
Just
Nazis.
ignore them.
Yeah.
All right.
But yes, another successful LA Pride. It was really fun. What did you do, Jasper? Did you go out or anything?
I was somewhere at 4 a.m. I don't remember where.
Oh, wow.
With
Sounds like a
Troy,
great time.
perhaps.
Oh, you
That
did
was on Thursday.
the Thursday night concert. How was
Yeah.
that?
Yeah,
Oh,
tell
yeah.
that. I want to hear about that.
Wait, you were at the Charlie XCX thing? Because I
Yeah.
was going to talk about Charlie XCX.
But talk about it.
I fucking love her.
she's great.
I wanted to talk about
Let's
her
talk about her.
during one of my segments. But yeah, she has a new album coming out, so everyone get it. And she just did Go West Fest with Troye Sivan for Gay Pride this year. It's like a big
Yeah, what was
queer.
that for?
And,
Tell
and,
us about
G-
that.
and Gia Gunn was there, and so
Gia Gunn. You know, oddly, I once showed Troy the little video I made of Gia's day in the life video, and I think that he's fallen in love with her since, and that's why she was doing the show.
That's Troye Sivan.
I don't want to take credit for that, but baby Gia. Yeah, it was really fun. I took some pics there, and it was lovely.
yeah, follow Jasper on Instagram.
You really should, because it's like
Yeah.
living the
Yeah, I know,
glamorous
you
life.
do
It's just-
live the
Oh
life.
my god, that fashion show you went to on the beach? What?
Yeah, that was real.
That was
yeah, that was
insane.
Amazing. Yeah, that was
Whose
wild.
fashion show was that?
That was Yves Saint Laurent.
Oh, my god.
Oh, it's a real beach? I thought it was just
was-
a backdrop.
No, it was
on the beach.
I've never seen something like it. They had these floodlights that lit up the mountains or the cliffs, and then the runway was right on the beach, and it was really misty, so it was this super foggy. It was it was really quite.
That had been one of the best runway shows I've ever seen
Yeah,
on your
that's-
Instagram.
Oh, man. Don't
Well,
need to
thanks
go.
for coming, Jasper.
Thank you.
Come back, please,
I would love to,
sometime.
yeah.
Edward,
Thanks for having me again.
You're welcome. Come back sometime.
Hopefully.
James, welcome back. It says I haven't been abused by you in so long. I was beginning to miss that.
I was scared.
I know that.
I know Jasper's a gentle creature.
I know. I'm sorry.
It was like a wind. Like.
Thanks for tuning into the Wow Report on Radio and Sirius XM. Listen to episodes on our YouTube channel, Wow Presents, and same time, same place next week. Until then, go out and do something that makes the world go
wow.